to between the students membership to the young professionals in the oil and gas industry, as well as other subsidiary industries connect to the oil and gas companies. And so we have young professionals as our panelists who are poised and well prepared to speak on interesting topics just to seek the interest of student membership who are yet to become SPE members and in the future becoming young professionals. In today's meeting, we also have an integral member of the SPE Ghana section, a well-known and an experienced personality, as well as the young professionals, young professionals are members of the young professionals, as well as some keynote personalities who are here to make today's section very interesting. And so at this point, for our meeting to begin, I'll welcome the Young Professionals Chair, who is in the person of Mr. Fifi Otunyako, to give us a welcome address for today's meeting. So if Fifi is available, you would have to take over from here. Mr. Fifi Otu, if you are with us, kindly give us the welcome address for today's discussion. Alex, I don't know if you would be able to do that on behalf of the Young Professionals Chair.
Recording in progress.
Alex, I mentioned that I don't seem to see Mr. Fifi Otu on the call, yes. So I don't know if you could speak on his behalf by giving the welcome address. Okay, please.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you very much. So thank you all for joining the call, and thank you very much to Mr. Atuedu for accepting to be the keynote speaker for this program. To our panelists, we know you have a wealth of experience, and we thank you very much for deciding to share with everyone on the call, both students and then people who have already graduated. So thank you all very much for coming. So I'll briefly talk about what a YP means in SPE. So for SPE, a YP, basically young professional, is someone who has graduated from school, is in the oil and gas industry and below the age of 35 years. So technically all of us on the call here are YPs, right? So that is why this call is very, very important for all of us to know how we can transition from being a YP to, from student member to YP. The benefits of being a YP will be spoken of extensively by our able panelists. but then I'll touch base on some programs that we've done as a YP committee, which involves you may have heard of the debate that happened, the Inter-Africa debate, which was solely for YPs, as well as you would also have other opportunities to partake in other YP programs that will be held in the Ghana section, as well as the SPE International section. So look out for YP programs powered by the YP Committee for SPE Ghana. And we hope you all participate in it. We have an upcoming challenge that is coming up. You hear of it. And we have next week, we have another webinar that will happen to address some challenges that young professionals like you and myself are facing in our job market. So watch out for our programs, and then we know you enjoy this one as well as all the other programs that we have for you. So I'll leave it for John to continue with the session. Thank you very much once again for joining the call.
Thank you very much, Alex, for such a powerful introduction and welcome address. I would also use this opportunity to welcome all the panelists, as well as our keynote speaker, as well as our audience and some special personalities for today's section. We hope that at the end of the discussion, everyone will be well abreast with the topic, transition from student members to young professionals. And as I said earlier, our keynote speaker is an experienced man, and I believe by the time he finished with his opening address, we will have enough to reason on, as well as the panelists. And so at this point, I'll use the single honor to welcome and introduce our keynote speaker. So our keynote speaker goes by the name Atu Edu. He had his senior high school education at St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast. Can some of the put their microphones on mute? Thank you very much. So our keynote speaker for today goes by the name Mr. Atu Edu. He had his senior high school at St. Augustine's College, Cape Coast. From there, he proceeded to Accra Polytechnic, which is now Accra Technical University. From there, he did his master's, that is MSc in Mechanical Engineering at Russian Oil and Gas University. And he furthered up to another master's in Offshore Engineering, Petroleum Engineering option at Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. Our keynote speaker is Wells Engineering with over 27 years of experience. He was the former SPE Ghana section chair and director. And he is the founder of Soluserve Ghana Limited. He founded this organization in 2009 together with a former schoolmate and a senior. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like you to help me welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Atu Edu, for today's session. Seth, thank you very much. And you have the floor to address your audience. Thank you very much once again.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much for the introduction. And just to make it clear, in our days, we didn't have senior high school, we had secondary schools. And and we were doing 5 years in the secondary school, whilst I think nowadays you do 3 years or so in the senior high school after GSS. But anyway, so it's good you have given a good background of myself, and somehow I'm getting some feedback. I don't know why. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, please. We can hear you.
Okay, I was getting some feedback, so I don't. It's okay now. Um, yeah. So today is a good topic for transitioning from a graduate to YP. It's a very challenging period for anybody, and the more tips you get in terms of what you can do with yourself and how you can, basically invest in yourself to put yourself in a very good position to either get a job or to start one yourself. So that said, if we can go to the slide number 3, which has, yeah. So a little bit about myself. I started with the SPE as a student member, just like most students are members today. And that was in Moscow. I was, from my first year, I joined the SPE as a student member until I graduated in 1994. So the actual initiation of the membership was in 1989. And then all through till 1994 when I completed my master's in mechanical engineering, specializing in offshore drilling equipment and technology. And then went on to the UK to basically do a master's in the Robert Gordon University, where I did the MSc offshore engineering, specializing in the petroleum engineering option. In those days, what we call now the well engineering masters was the offshore engineering equivalent. But then there were 2 streams, which was petroleum engineering and then offshore structures. So, with the offshore structures, you needed to have a good civil engineering background, which is also a very good route, which could, in those days, take you to the subsea architecture and things like that. Now, from then on, went on as the moderator introduced to work with various companies, starting with a well engineering consultancy, which had agreement with BP, British Petroleum at the time, and was attached to them on the Forties field. So if you look in the UK North Sea, you see the Forties field has been there for many, many years, 5 platforms. So I worked on the platforms, and then later on subsea exploration and appraisal and development on the Harding field, and other BP projects. Within that period, we got a contract with Talisman Energy, and then I moved on to work with Talisman as a drilling engineer and well engineer in general. We're looking at both drilling, completions, and workover activities and so on. So my background has been spread over from drilling all the way to well intervention. In 2009, like was mentioned before, we started Soluserve. It's a small company, not many people, but we have done our best to keep everybody working even through the COVID period until today. So next slide, please. Yeah, so I've, as a YP in Aberdeen, I was quite active, taking part in technical sessions and supporting, being involved with SPE until I left Aberdeen to work internationally with BP in Algeria, and then later on with BG, which is British Gas in Kazakhstan, where I've continued to work on various projects there. In 2016, Fraser Lawson, who was then Ghana SPE chairperson, convinced me to to join the Ghana section. So moving from Aberdeen section to join the Ghana section and to be the section chair. So until 2019, when I handed over to Celestina Kisi to continue with the work that SPE has been doing in Ghana. And since then, I've been a section officer, supporting the section as much as I can, and mainly due to all the benefits that if one wants to, would get from the society. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a little bit about the challenges that I went through from completing my education in the Soviet Union at the time, in Moscow. Of course, once you're finishing, you're applying for various jobs and so on, and a lot of rejects, which is quite disappointing. But the main thing is to keep focus and to continue, and also not to forget to keep revising your notes, such that when you have to go for an interview and some technical questions come up, you are able to answer them. So from there, spent a short time in London before going on to do my MSc in offshore engineering in Aberdeen. So within a year of being in London, I went to Aberdeen. So, and during this period, most of my time in London, I spent in the Institute of Petroleum at the time, now Energy Institute. They have a library on Regent Street. And I spent a lot of my time there in the library, reading and revising my notes so that in case of an interview, then I should be able to do well at the interview. In the meantime, I was doing some part-time work in the hotels and fuel stations just to get some money in the pocket. And then I started my master's in Robert Gordon, like I've mentioned before. So that is basically, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into what the challenges were, but of course, everybody finishing as a graduate is looking for a job. And the main challenge is getting yourself into the job, getting yourself positioned in such a way that you are able to do well in case of an interview. Unfortunately, within that year period before doing my master's, I did not get a job. And that was one of the motivating factors for doing another master's in the UK, just to make sure that I position myself well to be able to get a job. And luckily, during the period of my master's, during the second, early part of the second term, I managed to get an interview with Alomax Engineering at the time, and was recruited to join their team working on the BP project. So, and most of the decision to get me on board was as a result of my answers at the interview, having the basics, strong basics in the physics, in the engineering, and showing that I understood engineering as a whole, not only on a high level, but also using the basics to work myself up. So going on from there, let's go on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I was still an SPE member. I transitioned from being a student member to a professional member in 1994, 1995. And of course, the challenge for most people is trying to keep up with the membership payment, especially after graduating and not having some money in your pocket to try and keep it up. But the good thing is that the society is able to waive the fees for membership for graduates. If I'm not wrong, then, you know, I think up to a period of a year or two, and to allow you the time to be able to transition from a graduate to a young professional. And in this period, I spent a lot of my time doing research on my own as part of my MSc and for myself, especially in the drilling area. In those days, talk and drag analysis was fresh, and learning all the details into how to use the physics basically to do the drilling. I also spent some time going to technical sessions in Aberdeen, which is very important for a graduate moving on to be a young professional, and as well as for young professionals. Do your best to attend as many technical sessions as possible. We also have the distinguished lectures, which gives you a wealth of knowledge free of charge from well-experienced people. I spent a little bit of my savings on face-to-face training opportunities as well, not through the company, but by myself, from whatever savings that I had, just to build a strong knowledge base. I remember also for the conferences and workshops in those days, HPHT and extended drilling was just something that was niche, and a knowledge in those areas would be advantageous in supporting you for jobs that were coming up. So I spent a bit of money on those as well. That is, if you are able to do that, spend some money on getting yourself into the workshops, some training programs, and then basically don't show that you have been idle doing nothing. The technical sessions as part of training indicated on your CV is actually a plus, showing that you're not the type of person that sits only waiting for a job. So that said, with all the support from the technical papers, from now you have One Petrol, where you can get some of the papers are actually free of charge. Others, of course, you need to pay for them. Try your best to make use of those to build yourself in the area of interest. All through my career, and developing myself, I've used the SPE resources to support any technical work that I'm doing, and also to use the fora to help me in areas that I feel that I'm being challenged to develop those areas. You need to also, next slide, you need to also look at the opportunity to seek mentorship. I remember in Aberdeen, I managed to get Adrian Adams, and Adrian was one of the persons sitting on the SPE committee on casing collapse. And, a few occasions interacting with him, and he giving me some insights into casing design and casing collapse mechanisms as a whole. So it gave me a wealth of knowledge in that area, and it's kept me very strong in that area until today. So spend some time to look for a mentor in the area of interest. Try to make sure that the person understands clearly what you want from them, and not necessarily asking them for a job, but basically to guide you in achieving the objectives that you've set for yourself. And you don't leave out your fellow colleagues, YPs, who may have gotten jobs themselves before you. They may also be able to help you and to guide you in meeting your objectives. Now, when it comes to mentors, you have to recognize that people have their own schedules and times. So try your best when they give you some time to meet those times. Don't be late. And if they are able to make it, just allow them the time to be able to give you the attention that you need. Another thing is planning your career. I, right from the beginning, wanted to be a well engineer, not only in drilling area. So I looked at all the areas that would make me a strong well engineer, including workovers, completions, and well intervention. And that has helped me to today. So you need to look at which area you want to specialize in, and then create a path for yourself. If you do not understand how to create a path, you can use the help of the mentors to help you basically create the path that you want to take. And before you decide on the areas, of course, you all understand that you need to have an interest in the area, first and foremost, and then also you need to have the strong basics that can help you in the particular area that you want to be involved in. In making your applications or in applying for jobs, the tendency is mostly for people to focus on the major companies. But as you can see from my path, I started with a consultancy, which then gave me the opportunity to work with the larger companies as a result of work that they got from the larger companies. So you don't necessarily have to go straight only to the major companies. You need to look at services companies, smaller companies that service the majors, and through that you can find yourself, working where your ultimate dream is. Now, during the period when you have to wait to get a job, you have options. You can actually look at developing skill sets in areas where which are relevant to the business today. For instance, in today's world, you're looking at the need for data science knowledge, the use of artificial intelligence in the applications, various applications, depending on which area you want to specialize in. So you may spend some of the time. There are a lot of free material online nowadays, which you can have access to and build your skill sets in those areas so that when you have to go for interviews or start working somewhere, those skill sets will make you stand out. And that is something that you need to, don't spend the time just browsing a lot of people like on the Instagrams and TikToks and so on. That is a waste of time and a waste of your future. So focus on yourself, invest in yourself, and be flexible. Anytime something comes up which you are not so sure about and you need advice, you can always fall on the likes of myself or your colleagues or other experienced professionals to help you. Now, you also have the option to start your own business. If you have skill sets that you think can be used to develop something that is necessary for the industry or for other industries, apply yourself to it and then see if you can capitalize on that. And that in the meantime, if you fill in a CV and you have that on, it's a plus. I would look at somebody doing something like that first and foremost than someone who says I've been waiting for a job. So you need to keep that in mind. Look for something that you think is marketable, and for all you know, you could end up with a startup, which you will get sponsorship to continue something that you love doing and to build your own business. So next slide, please. So in conclusion, there are a few things, these 5 points that I've put up there, which I may have talked of already. Starting from the bottom, make sure you get the basics right. What I mean by that is basic physics, basic fluid mechanics, basic strength of materials, your thermodynamics. Get a good understanding, grips of it, such that you are able to apply it to the area that you are interested in. A lot of times people come for interviews and you ask them the very basic questions from physics, and because they have basically think that they've gone beyond that point, they do not realize that the basics is what is going to build them the foundation for becoming better engineers. So make sure that your basics are strong so you can build yourself as an engineer onto it in the future. Have faith in yourself also. You have to stay positive. Anytime that you feel that you're not getting where you're going and you need motivation, you need to try and motivate yourself, or talk to somebody so that the person can help you basically motivate yourself. And don't be idle, like I've said before. Get yourself involved in other things to keep you going. Your goals must be realistic. A lot of times, the expectations and the goals that we set up for ourselves. Sorry, there's some feedback from somebody. Can we all mute, please? Yeah, thank you very much. There's still feedback, please. Can all of you mute? Hello? Hello? Yeah, thank you very much. So, like I was saying before, you have to make sure that your goals and objectives. Hello, can you hear me? Because I got a mute.
Yes, we can hear
okay,
you.
All right, so yeah, so a lot of times the goals and expectations that we set for ourselves are beyond what I would say is immediately achievable. So in the short term, set yourself goals and expectations that you know are achievable, and so that you don't put yourself in a position where you get disappointed if you don't meet those particular goals. And like I said before, try to motivate yourself, get yourself working on stuff that will keep you busy, at the same time looking for a job or starting your own business, as whichever be the case. Stepping out of your comfort zone is looking at the example of starting your own business and taking the risks to do something that you have a strong feeling for that would work, but may possibly not be something that could work. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to start. You start, you work at it, state your objectives, work at them, put in as much effort as you can, and don't stop if something fails. It's like we all see all the motivational videos where it says when you fail, this is the time to stand up and then re-strategize. And if I tell you the number of times I got disappointed from rejects from applications before I did my master's, over 200 applications, and nothing coming up. But all the same, I kept going. Yeah. So you need to keep pushing yourself and allow yourself the time to basically get to where you want to be. And like I've mentioned before, focus on additional skills, like the data science and machine learning, artificial intelligence, to help you in today's market. And I think for now, that is all I have to say. I hope that it's enough to allow you the, what do you call it, enough points to get you deliberating on transitioning from being a graduate. Now, another point that for most members, not only the student members, but also the YPs, like I mentioned from the beginning, stay active, take part in SPE activities, and through that, you get a good networking with other members who may be in position to be of support. For the student members, what I see now is that with the student membership, they have always focused only on their own institutions. But you need to start communicating with other institutions as student members, organizing games for yourselves, basically, games, look at sections where you can help yourselves with paper writing, and then, just be strong student chapters that will help you basically in getting more distinguished lectures or technical sessions to your chapters to help you build your knowledge base. I think that's enough for now. Thanks very much, and have a good deliberation.
Thank you very much, our keynote speaker, Mr. Tuedu. The panelists get ready. And thank you all for those who join afterwards. You are much welcome, and I believe you are going to have a great session with us. Also, thank you very much for such an in-depth address, as well as you shared your experience. I wrote down some questions, but at the end of the day, I realized that your presentation has captured all of them. I don't know for others. I stated that in the comment section that because of time, you put down your questions on the chat, or you put it down and afterwards we address all of them. So I will seek that our keynote speaker, you stay with us so that any question that might be directed to you, you have the opportunity to address us all. And so the next thing on our section right now, I would like to introduce all the panelists. And so I will start with Miss Eugenia Obodai. So Miss Eugenia Obodai is a field engineer with subsea production system in One Subsea, which is a joint venture company of SLB. Miss Eugenia is a graduate petroleum engineer from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The next on the panel is Mark Sowalai. Mark is also a field engineer with subsea production system in One Subsea, a joint venture company of SLB. So Mark and Eugenia are team members, the same company, One Subsea. The next on the panel is Miss Antoinette Suchofe. I'm sorry if I couldn't pronounce the name well, Antoinette. So Antoinette is a dynamic and passionate professional, currently serving as a maintenance and project engineer at Vivo Energy Ghana. Antoinette is a graduate petroleum engineer from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Yes, a graduate petroleum engineer from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I don't know if I forgot, Mark is a graduate petroleum engineer from University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani. Yeah, that is a quick one. And the fourth on the panel is Jude Amobuaten. He's also a maintenance and project engineer at Vivo Energy Ghana and a graduate petroleum engineer from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Mark, Jude is one of the members of the debaters who won this year's debate on the current the biennial conference of SPE Ghana session. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our panelists. I think I have to also use the opportunity to introduce myself as well. My name is John Kumsin, a current YP member of SPE Ghana session, a graduate of petroleum engineering graduate from University of Science and Technology. Mark is my colleague, program mate, and I did my national service with Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and currently a tutor at Ido College International. Thank you very much to our panelists. So, audience and important personnel on today's discussion, as the topic defines, or the theme, transition from student members to young professionals. Our keynote speaker has given us a whole lot of inspiring message, using himself as an example, and at this point, giving us a lot of things to do, talking about mentorship, believing in ourselves, and a whole lot. So we have these young guys and ladies who are young professionals. They are coming to tell us more about how to transit from student membership to young professionals. going to address on challenges faced during transition, skills and knowledge achieved, advice for students, and benefits of being a YP member. And so at this point, each panelist will be given a maximum of 8 minutes to present his or her theme, and then at the end of the day, we will take some sample questions as well. So the first on the list to be contacted is Mark. Mark, I believe you are ready. You are to tell us the challenges faced during transition. But I believe you also have something to say as well, but you are going to tell us challenges faced during transition. You can use yourself as an example, or you can give a general overview. So thank you very much. You can now take over.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. So my name is Mark, as already mentioned. I'm a graduate, petroleum engineering graduate from the University of Energy and Natural Resources. I was a student member there. Back then, we were the first batch of petroleum engineering students. So back then, the sector hadn't been officially integrated, but now it has. Then from school, through a professional organization, I managed to secure a graduate internship with Halliburton, where I did my service and then continued for a while till COVID came, and then my contract ended. Then, I worked with a maritime company as well, and then finally ended up with OneSubsea as a field engineer. So, to your question, John, about challenges faced during the transition. One thing I would say was a very big challenge to me personally was identifying gaps in your skills, and then also creating and developing new habits. You know, the school system is structured in a way to help you learn, study, and all that. But when you come out, it's a whole different environment. And for me personally, this was identifying the skills I needed to develop, and also creating new habits and adhering to those habits was a challenge. You know, there is a saying which says that what you know, you don't know, you can work on, you can learn. So like our uncle Atu mentioned, you know, you need to develop certain skills, basic skills, basic knowledge in your electronics, your mechanics and all that. You need to develop your Excel skills. You can go to YouTube and learn all those things. But now where the problem is what you do not know, you don't know. If you do not know, you don't know something, that can really be a challenge to you. And in my experience, if I should use myself as an example, it came in the form of not just skills that I lacked, but also attitude and, let me say, some bad habits. We all have some bad habits, maybe some habits, good habits we need to polish up, some bad habits we need to shed off and all that. Mine came in the form of some sort of a bad habit, I should say. And it was something that really could have been an hindrance to my growth in my career. And I wasn't aware of it until it was pointed out by someone else. And the attitude was, I always get a bit defensive when I try to make my opinion, and it turns out to be not accepted or people think it's wrong. I always tend to kind of be a bit defensive and go on a defensive, try to, you know, defend my point and all that. And that was something it was kind of a reactive trait I had. And fortunately for me, I had a very good manager back then who, he took note of this. And then one day when I was just with him, he just pointed out, it was like, Mark, you know, we learn every day. So, I mean, sometimes it's okay to be wrong. And I mean, I didn't change overnight, of course, but what that thing did was it made me aware of what I was lacking, what I needed to polish. Yours could be something different. It could be a skill. I mean, it could be an attitude you need to learn, a old habit you need to let go of, and all that. So that was one challenge I had. And the next one I would say is it's the communication and networking skills. I think Uncle Atu touched on all these things. So it will just be reiterating what he said. So you need to really build up your communication skills and networking skills. You know, you can personal practice. I mean, sometimes you go out, you know, you see people you want to network with, you go there, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to ask, you end up asking all the wrong questions and all that. These are things you can practice on your own. Prepare some sort of 30-second pitch introduction about yourself and all that, and then practice your questions. Prepare your questions down. It should be brief, well researched, relevant, and should be of good benefit. And you get me. So, I mean, those are the main challenges that I face here.
A quick one, Mark.
Okay, John.
Yeah, you see, we have some audience here. We have some students here that
okay,
we are addressing, and I'm very much interested in the bad habits that you mentioned. Maybe if you can be specific, it's going to help someone. Perhaps someone is also having that kind of bad habits. If you can be specific, and then you look at how maybe through advice or you change that. As you said, you had a very good supervisor or boss. What was that bad habit, if you can specify, so that someone here today is going to also benefit from it?
Oh, okay, John. Okay,
Thank
John.
you.
So I think I made mention of my bad habit was getting on the defensive when I was wrong. You know, that was mine. I was kind of a bit of a know-it-all, so always trying to be right, that kind of thing. And I get reactive when people kind of either debunk my point or opinions or don't actually agree with me. Then I just, you know, try to defend my point, why I think my point is right, you see. And that was one of them. That was one of them, yeah.
All right,
But
that's great.
I mean, for the students here, it could be anything. I mean, you need to, sometimes you wouldn't be able to notice all these things. Someone else would be able to notice them and then point them out. So you have to put your head on it. That's why it's good to have good mentors. They would point out what you don't know, you don't know. You understand? Yeah.
All right. So Jude will take us on skills and knowledge achieved. But before Jude comes in, I'm still on you, Mark.
Okay.
Talking about challenges, using yourself as an example, how would you advise, or let's say in a small way or in a brief statement, for the sake of the student here, can you throw more light on staying up to date with industry trends and technologies? This kind of trend that we find ourselves, everything is about IT. Maybe that wasn't your challenge, but a way of trying to speak to somebody. How do we stay up to date with industry trends and technology before Jude comes in to talk about skills and yeah.
Okay. So you need to, okay, for me, right from school, I had really good interest in things that were going on in the industry. So I had subscribed to various platforms, offshore magazines and all that. So, and I actually listened to the news. I mean, well, some news, but I do a lot of research on the oil and gas industry, what's going on there and all that. So just to try and keep up to date with what's going on. And if when I got to Halliburton, I made it a point to know what the company was doing in the region, what they were doing in Senegal, what contracts they had. You know, some information you not find online, but you will find through your company's portal and all that. I mean, for me, it was already an interest for me, something that I love doing. So I just continued it. And it really helps in in that sometimes it's really good grounds for networking actually, and then it shows you're well informed when you're talking with people. It shows your concern about maybe the company, you are really interested. It shows your interest in the industry itself, in the work you are doing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for giving us this insight on challenges you face during transition. And I believe at the end of the day, it builds you up and you have experience from that. Jude, so you are going to tell us more, you are going to share more thoughts on skills and knowledge achieved as you transited from member to YP. You may want to talk about technical skills specific to your field, soft skills like communication, teamwork, and time management, and then industry insight, best practices. Jude, you have the floor now. Let your audience hear from you. Hello, Jude.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You may proceed. Jude, we can hear you. You can proceed.
Technical skills that a student member and being a young professional. So, as I was saying, the only two that I work with is communication and people. I believe that that is the sum from school into our first 3 years in the industry. Way back in school, our lecturers would give us project works and then put us in groups of 10, 15, 20, and then we do complain about the drop buttons and the lazy ones not trying to help. John, am I being heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so yes, so we do complain about the other five, the other three not helping the projects to go on. We sometimes have good presentations and we complain about how 2 or 3 people might have messed up the entire group's presentation. But then I come again on people
Judy, you may have to check your connections. We can't hear you right now. I don't know if you are still talking.
John, I think you should move to the next speaker once he addresses his concern.
Sure. Thank you very much. So, Antoinette, be ready so that you take us through the benefit of being a young professional member. Yeah, so you may have to throw highlight on increased autonomy and responsibility, opportunities for mentorship and growth, access to exclusive events and resources. So if you are ready, Miss Antoinette, kindly take us through the benefits of being a YP professional, young professional.
Okay. Hi,
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please, you are audible.
Okay. My name is Kwashiga Antoinette. I'm currently a graduate project engineer at Vivo Energy Ghana. And I'm a proud member of SPE Young Professionals. My journey began in KNUST as a student member. I was participating in their activities. And should be told, the journey hasn't been easy from being a student member and transitioning into a YP. But I had this adage in mind that at the end of the tunnel, there's light. I've enjoyed quite a number of benefits from the transitioning into YP, and I'll talk about a few. But before I speak about the benefits, one challenge I had, which has already been spoken about by Uncle Ato, was a lack of knowledge about the special offers SPE has for its members. So before completion, I actually didn't know whether I would still be able to be a member of SPE because of the financial problems, as in the dues to be paid as a member. But I spoke to one of my mentors and he told me it was actually free for newly graduated students. So I took on the, so it was a good news for me actually. And I tried to volunteer to be part of the recent African intersectional SPE debate, which was recently held, sorry. And one benefit I had from that debate especially was enhancing my communication skills, building my confidence, and even teamwork, working with different people with different backgrounds and intuition was quite difficult for me before I became a YP and then joined the debaters. I also had opportunities to build my network with the other participants, the audience, the judges, of which I know will open greater opportunities for me later in the future. Another benefit I'm also enjoying as a YP is the professional recognitions in terms of awards, honors, and certificates. You know, for every training section or activity I participate in as a YP, there is a certificate, so there's an award or there's an honor, which is used to acknowledge your contributions and then your achievements for being part of the training. And you know, as we are all growing up as graduates, trainees, and people wanting to be in the industry, we all want to have good credentials and be able to market ourselves and even boost our CVs. It's fun to see others posts on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have done this. I'm happy to have done that. It feels good. So as a YP, there are lots of programs, there are lots of training sections, there are lots of educative programs that once you partake in, you're going to brand yourself, you're going to have mentorship growth, and so many opportunities will be opened up to you. One benefit I'm also going to talk about is mentorship and growth. Before I joined as a YP or during my times in school, I had issues with I actually didn't know what to do. Sorry. Okay. So I actually didn't know what to do right after school, whether to go to continue with graduate school, to work in the industry. I actually was confused, but I attended one of these SPE programs and I moved to one person I know would be my mentor. Yes, I spoke to him about it and we had like 5 minutes talk. And from then, I think I've made up my mind, yes, on what to do from where I am now. Yes, and finally, what I'll also talk about is the access to exclusive events and resources. So as a member of YP, you have the access to exclusive workshops, seminars, training sections, and these sections are designed to enhance your professional growth and the knowledge in the industry. As Mark already said, you have the wealth of educational materials, including technical papers. You can subscribe to One Petrol, and all these things are free for all YPs. You need to find yourself being abreast with current trending technologies and informations in the industry. So as I said earlier, the trainings are a lot. You need to involve yourselves and the benefits are there for you to enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antoinette, for telling us the benefits of being a YP, using yourself as example as well. And that is to say that there's a saying that goes, success is never achieved on a silver platter. You need to involve yourself, you need to volunteer, you need to open up, you need to just be curious in the mindset of helping and also involving yourself. You don't become a student member in YP without just being a spectator or just looking at what is going on. Where necessary, more hands are needed on deck, you join them as well. So at this point, we are moving on. So we want to go back to Eugenia as well. Eugenia, to give us more advice for students. I think this is going to be a great moment so that all students here, you need this advice. To every human being, you need an advice as to how to move on in life. So at this point, let's welcome Eugenia to share to us more idea on the advice for students. So Eugenia, I believe you are ready for that. Can you give us some insight on that?
Hello, everyone. Please, can I be heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Eugenia, and I'm from One SPE. For students, members that are about to transition into being young professionals or probably looking forward to joining the corporate world or going back to school or whatever, one thing I'll say is that first of all, you need to believe in yourself, and secondly, trust the process. Because trust me, after school, you will hear so many things about what is happening with this friend and that friend and all of that. And you might feel like you are behind or what's not. Don't really focus on what is happening in other people's life. Rather focus on yourself. And during Uncle Ato's presentation, he mentioned a couple of things. I'll just like to recap from them. First of all, you can get involved in internships. Sometimes we are always waiting for internships that would pay us or yes, give us some incentives or something. But sometimes not all the internships can bring you that. It doesn't mean when you get an opportunity like that, don't take it up. take it up, because for all you know, you can develop certain skills there that will be transferable for you in the actual field where you see yourself. Also, get involved in projects. You probably saw online that there's this project going on and you have interest in it. Join them. You can just know what it takes or what happens when like a project like that is ongoing. It could be like construction or whatever. It could be anything. If you find or if you think you have an interest in such things, get involved. And don't always look as, oh, what money am I going to get and all of that. Like I mentioned, it may not be necessarily like you may not see the importance in the moment because you may see it afterwards. And I'll just give an example. So when I finished school, obviously I didn't have any job opportunity yet. I was just home, and then I had an opportunity to work with an event company, which is far from what I studied. I studied petroleum engineering. It was extremely far. Like, what is an event manager doing with petroleum engineering? Like, they are very parallel, right? But then I took it up and I did it for more than a year. And to be honest, I don't think I wasted my time or regretted, because during that time, I interacted with a lot of clients. I worked with a lot of corporate companies, and I did so much. So even in my interview for one subsea, I mentioned in my interview that since I completed school, I have not joined any professional body, or I have not worked in my field. That is like in the petroleum industry, oil and gas industry. But then I highlighted on the fact that I have transferable skills from where I was before. I had transferable skills from where I was before, right? And it worked out for me. So that's what I want you to understand. Until you get what you want, focus on what you have at the moment, because you never know what character it might build in you. And understand that everything is a process. Once you are following things that are reasonable, you will definitely get somewhere. Also, get involved in volunteer works. So there can be, you may probably hear about a company doing something or an organization. You can always join them, because you must not necessarily be a part of it, because you're not just looking at, oh, maybe I'm not a part of it, so I don't think I should go. No, go closer, get involved, ask a lot of questions. Why are they doing this? What was the plan? Is it affecting anybody? All of those questions. Like once you get involved, yeah, you're not just doing it, but yeah, you for all you know, you'll be building how your people skills, how to interact with people, and all of those things. So nothing is a waste. Every opportunity that comes to you, utilize it very well. Also, I would say attend industry events and conferences. Right now, LinkedIn is one tool that can really help you, because an organization like SPE always puts out, or most of the time puts out their activities online. So you will definitely know about it. So if you find out about those things, get involved, go for the conferences, speak to people, ask them questions, how they did it, if they know about any opportunities anywhere, and all of that. Just at that moments, you may not exactly get any opportunity, but at least you are keeping yourself in the loop and not in the dark. So you know that, okay, when I follow this page, at least I can get certain kind of information from there. So you should be looking out for those things. And also it will really help with your communication skills, how to express yourself clearly to people, and all of that. One last thing I would like to touch on is how to build a strong online presence and professional brand. So you're right out of school, you may not really have much You will probably just have your degree and nothing else. The things I said previously, if you take them seriously, it could help you build a professional brand, because most companies are not looking for people that can just do the work. They are looking for people that can do the work and also have certain skills. So it's not just about your knowledge, but also how you work with people, communication, interpersonal skills, all of that. How you are ready to make something work, teamwork, organizational skills, all of those things. So that alone is helping you at that point build your professional brand and make very good use of your social media pages. I know social media can be some way, but you can still make good use of it. At least LinkedIn, you can make like post on LinkedIn about let's say an internship you did or a volunteering work you did. Just put yourself out there. I feel like most of the times, even including myself, we are scared to put ourselves out there because is that not too much? But take the chance. You never know. Someone may see you and actually draw inspiration from your story, and it could go a long way to help you. So thank you very much. I hope this goes a long way to help you.
Thank you very much, Eugenia, for the advice given us, the students. Thank you very much. And I think this advice will also go the way to help young professionals as well. We always keep on learning. So at this point, we will be taking questions. Right after questions, we will welcome our membership chair, Yao, to tell us more on how to become SPE member. This will help the students. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the time to join this session. Now it's time to bring your questions. I've seen Clement. Clement, you can unmute yourself and give out your question. So I believe Uncle Atu is still with us. The panelists get ready. And if any young professional here also wants to ask a question, it's not for only students. Please kindly make your questions available. Thank you very much. Clement, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, John. I'm very much honored to speak on this particular event. So first of all, I would like to say, transitioning from being a student to a professional body in SPE, I didn't hear anybody mentioning about a fee that I need to pay for the registration to actually be in the professional body. I don't know if that fee has been waived. If it has, I don't know anything about that though, but I believe that if something has to be done, the whole thing has to be started from the scratch. You need to let us know that, okay, after you are done with the free payment for you being a student, going to the professional body, this is the fee you need to actually pay for. Okay, because I've had some complaints coming to me personally that, okay, Clem, I wanted to go into the professional body. How do I go in for? So first of all, I told them that, okay, there's a fee that is being paid. You need to pay for that fee. But normally, I don't know if there are companies that also cater for the professional body, for the people we have here. I don't know if any of the panels have actually had a free payment being paid by a company or someone on their behalf. If yes, then I think some guidelines can be given to people who do not have that money at the moment to get this thing going. Okay, and then second of all, I'd like to also say that, you see, the period to which you guys completed school and then had the opportunity available to you is not always the same for people, okay? Sometimes students go through a lot, especially people who don't really have that good connections with people, okay? Sometimes even getting an internship is very difficult because you go to a company, they tell you, oh, there's no slot or they don't have money to pay. It's okay. You end up saying, okay, I want to volunteer. By the end of everything, you end up not getting a response or you don't even get it. You try working out for something that is looking for a work. You go to corporate world, everybody is like, oh no. You manage to get a work, then it's on a contract basis, okay? So now you complete the contract, let's say within a year, there's no renewal because during that time, there's no offer available. And then you end up applying for jobs that is requiring you 5 years experience, 10 years experience. You still go ahead to apply for the job, but they tell you, okay, your experience is too small. Or looking at your CV, okay, you worked there 1 year, you worked there 1 year. So they see you as a problem. You don't want to stay in the work. But the whole thing is that it's on a contract basis. Then you don't get a follow-up call, or you send a text message to do a follow-up, and then no one tells you this truth. But you see, these things are really going on in our current state we find ourselves. So I believe that such things has to be discussed well, okay, to actually enable the students coming into the corporate world to actually find the best way to solve some issues. Okay, so this is more of like a contribution at the same time. Questions, if anyone has a say to this, I think it can be addressed in order to let everybody know on exactly how to handle some issues. Okay, but I also encourage the students coming out that if you have the potential to also start up something, start up your own business, run something, then I will encourage you to do that. But before that, also find out people who have actually been there so that they can give you guidelines on how you can manage your time and resources, so that the mistakes they made when they were coming up wouldn't be repeated. Okay, this will give you a very good stand in order to be out there strong and then firm.
Okay,
Thank
Clement. Yeah,
yes,
thank
please.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I think this one is a contribution, not more of a question. Yeah. So
Can I make some comments on Clement's?
Okay, Uncle Atu, okay.
Yeah, I heard him talking about all the challenges. Nowadays. And the thing is that you'll be surprised to know that these challenges were the same during my time. Nothing has changed over all those years in terms of a student completing, looking for a job. You can even volunteer to be an intern, and they may or may not allow you the opportunity to be an intern. The situation has not changed much. And that is why I was saying that during the period when you're looking for a job, it doesn't matter if you have connections or not. In whichever case it is, you need to apply yourself outside of your comfort zone. And, because I see that I did the same mistake. All of us finish and we are looking to be placed in what we have studied. But I was happy when I heard Eugenia saying that she went into event management. You'll be surprised how much that would have enhanced her abilities in terms of logistics management and things like that, which becomes very important later in her career as a petroleum engineer or related area. So don't limit yourself to the fact that I have done a petroleum engineering degree and therefore I have to be in the petroleum engineering area right from beginning. If you have to find yourself in another area, it doesn't matter, be it acting, be it farming, be it whatever. Do it in the meantime while you're looking for what you actually want. So this is what I have to say to Clement and everybody listening to what Clement said. Now, when it comes to the SPE and transitioning, like I mentioned, and I think Eugenia or Antoinette mentioned, you have to realize that the first year after you've graduated, the SPE normally waives the fee. So you don't necessarily have to pay for about a year or so. And I think they even have an option where it can be waived up to 3 years, depends. You need to write to SPAI or through the local section, which is the Ghana section, to look for support in terms of waiving your fee for a period until you find a job and then you start paying. So those options are available to young professionals or graduates to young professionals, and you should try and make use of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Atu, for helping him out. Guys, because of time, we would like to take one last question. except there is no any other question. We would like to take one more question, and the question must be brief so that we pave way for our membership chair to also engage us on how to become an SPE member. And so if there is anyone to give a question to any of the panelists or to our keynote speaker. Okay, so because there's no anyone to ask a question, shall we welcome Yao? Yao, our membership chair, to engage as the students on how to become an SPE member. Thank you very much, Yao. Hello, Alex, is Yao available? Is he on the call?
Yeah, I'm on the call, but no one seems to be hearing me.
Yeah, so please, kindly speak up. I think we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can hear me. I just want to be sure you can hear me.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you now.
Brilliant. So thank you all for taking time to hear what SPE has to offer as student members and as well as professional members. My name is Yao from Pong, and I am not an engineer, but I am a section chair for SPE Ghana. I think the notion has been that SPE is just for engineers, but that notion I think has been dispelled now. Everyone's aware that you only need to be someone in the oil and gas industry or with interest in the oil and gas industry, or let's say energy industry, to want to join the organization, which is SPE. In terms of becoming members, I know that some of you went through the process of joining SPEs as student members. However, when you're transitioning to become professional members, it is quite important for you to still go through the process of renewing your membership, but indicating clearly that this is your first year out of university or whatever, so that you can enjoy the benefits that a keynote speaker spoke about. If you are able to go through the right channel, if you're able to go through the right channel, you're able to be waived off paying any fees for this first year. And like Uncle Ato said, it could be beyond a year. But once you're able to enjoy that first year, it's assumed that you are out of education and now trying to find your feet in the professional world. So hopefully by the end of that year, you'll be able to renew your membership or have a further waive if there's any situation that arises. In terms of being a young professional member, I think it's quite important for all of us to know that once you join SPE, there are various committees you can join. And on all these committees, there's SPE Cares, which looks at doing things outside the normal engineering space for the community. There's communications, publicity. There is membership. There is the Young Professionals Committee. There's also for career guidance and counseling. So there's enough for you to do. And one thing I would say is once you're joining SP, you're tapping into the world's leading resources in terms of technical knowledge, meeting and sharing ideas with volunteers or with peers, networking opportunities. There's also access to training and certifications. So, there's ACCA, there is ICA, there's marketing, what's not, and all these professional professional careers, they have these professional exams. But for SPE, it's probably the only organization that you don't really have to write certification to be recognized as a member. So it's quite a good opportunity to join an elite few, but a special few that will have access to all the resources that you need in terms of oil and gas. And I'm sure some of you have heard of JPT, the Journal of Petroleum Technology, Oil and Gas Facilities, the Way Ahead, One Petro online library, Petro Wiki. All these are SPE platforms for technical resources. So there is quite a good opportunity there to learn a lot and get enough knowledge and share between yourself and other like-minded individuals. I would also state that SPE is probably one of the best platforms to grow yourself professionally, as well as in terms of volunteering. Myself, I've been volunteering for the last 3 years, and it's been quite enjoyable because there you get to prepare yourself to be in leadership roles. You know, when there was the SPE conference recently, the amount of planning and effort that went into that. If you don't get exposed to it at this level, maybe you get into a role in your actual job and your experience here would actually be very relevant for you. So I would say everyone should try their best to volunteer in a committee somehow, and you would realize that you'll be building yourself up for beyond SPE. We all know, I don't know if you know Dr. Riverson, but he was an avid SPE volunteer and he has risen. He's gotten offers and jobs out of SPE, all due to what he's done through SPE. So it offers you a good opportunity to learn a lot about yourself, as well as working with other people. In terms of flagship events for SPE Ghana, we do have our SPE Young Show, which was held in May. We've got the SP Soccer Gala, which is normally held in June, but should be held anytime from now. And we have the SP Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which always happens every October. And we try our best to do more than just the engineering. The engagements are more than just oil and gas. The engagements are spread across. So we have engagements in oil and gas, engagements in the community, sports, mental health and well-being, and that alone sets you on a journey that I think will be worthwhile for you. But I would advise that if anyone wants to enjoy or wants to join SPE, my number, I think Alex and John will provide my number. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Jude, Antoinette, Mark, Eugenia, all of these individuals to give you insights as to how to join as professional members once you're out of university. And the world is your oyster and the opportunities will be available to you. I think that's all I have for members. I'm hopeful people will reach out and we can transition you guys from student members into professional members and you enjoy the full benefits of SPE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yao, for leading us on how to become SPE member. I believe the student here, you heard him very well. Before we move to closing of today's discussion, we will welcome Alex. Alex is the SPE Young Professionals Chair to give us a closing remarks for today's discussion. Alex, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, John. I'm standing in for the chair, Fifi. So in SPE Ghana and SPE International, you've heard a whole lot about SPE Ghana and SPE International today, and I believe from this meeting you've made up your mind to, if you are not part of SPE, you should join SPE. If you should be more active in SPE activities. Thank you very, very much to Uncle Ato for making the time to join us today and sharing the valuable nuggets of advice you gave to us, YPs as well as student members. Thank you to Eugenia, Mark, Antoinette, Jude, and to John for helping us bring the YP perspective to this valuable topic. So thank you guys very much. And to the over 45 people on the call, thank you all for making the time to join the call today. As the YP committee, we continue to advance things that will help us, help the student members transition to YP and to help YP improve upon our skills. So next week, we're going to have another session like this on Zoom. The link will be shared as well as the flyer. So watch out. It's going to talk about how we as YP can overcome challenges within the energy transition landscape in Africa. So watch out for that. And if you're a student member, you can join so you can pick up more nuggets to help you straight line your path in your career going forward. So thank you all very much. And we thank you for joining the call today. So over to you, John.
All right, thank you once again to Speaker Alice. So guys, at this point, as I tested in the chat box, kindly click on the participants and then you on your so that we take a group picture together. Just click on your camera so that you